Well, we can go if you want.
We've got the world's averagest picture quality for this. We're presuming the mics are working. You don't want to do a sound check, do you?
No, it's your video, mate.
Yeah, it's not our video. It's like that, isn't it?
Yeah, my channel, by the way. They're invading my channel.
With our content.
Morning, lads. Morning. Welcome. Well, not welcome. Thank you for having us. It'd be lovely to get to know you all today and go through a bit of a presentation. Myself and Darren, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we do. Some of you guys, or most of you guys, probably at the back already know what we do, and you've probably seen some of Darren's videos. But we're from the NICEIC, ELECSA, and ELECSA. You might have seen this brand as well, Certsure.
Yeah, might have heard that. Realistically, that's just a holding company. That's all it is. And the two brands underneath, they're the important thing. So they're the ones you see on the vans. On the vans or the certificates, it's NICEIC, ECA, or ELECSA, and they're the ones that are promoted to as many specifiers as possible, and they're the ones that we want people to recognise and have faith in. So that's the two there that we're looking for.
Yeah. Just a quick bit about me. I was very much like you guys. I was actually at Wellingborough College, and then I transferred over to Bedford College. So I know what you're all going through at the minute in terms of exams and stuff, and AM2s, and all you guys at the back. And I worked my way up. I met Darren at Bedford College. Darren taught me for a little bit. Some bad habits as well. But no, he taught me a lot, and then 10 years on that was?
10 years, yeah, 10 years. It took me 10 years to get Jake to come and join us. But Jake's journey is not too dissimilar from yours. You're starting off at the moment probably thinking all you want to be is an electrician. And that's it for you. That's probably the goal. And don't ever sit there with just blinkers on. I don't think there's anyone at all in positions in their 30s or 40s that they thought, yeah, that's what I was going to be when I was 30, 40, or probably moving on. It's a massive career. We'll come on to it in a little bit and show you exactly how varying and wide ranging it can be. It's a fantastic industry that you're in. You're starting off in, and it can have an absolute brilliant career and provide you with a lot of earnings if you really want to be driven by money, or it can be just driven by a lot of heartfelt pleasure from saying thank you to the customers and bits and bobs and moving on in that direction as well. And it's opportunities, more opportunities in this industry than there are in a lot of other industries that are out there. I
mean, when I started, I literally was just sat there and I just thought, be an electrician, just go to work, get paid, and then spend it on whatever I wanted to spend it on, clothes and bits and pieces. It's not until you get a bit older and you actually realise and you sit back and you say, right, so where's the next step? Where am I going with this? Do I need a house, etc.? So you need to start progressing through, and you need to become a better electrician in terms of getting your qualifications, your testing and what have you, and then you become, well, get to where you want to be, basically, is what I'm saying.
So you mentioned the NICEIC, ELECSA and ELECSA, Jake. What do we do?
So this is what we do. We sign up contractors to go on a register, which provide certification, and then we go out and assess you guys out there on site. So we do it domestically. So if you're on a domestic register, which is known as domestic installer, we literally go out there and assess you just for domestic. So if you're doing housework.
You could do that with the ELECSA as well. So you choose which logo you want on your van or your work clothing or your certificates. It's entirely up to you which one you want to do. The level to get in is exactly the same. It doesn't matter which brand you're using. It's exactly the same requirements.
And then we've got the approved contractor scheme. Now that's where we go out there and assess you for everything. So you can work in colleges, you can work on farms, you can work in office blocks, and then we'll assess you for all that. And you also can carry out all your testing and inspections, you can carry out your EICRs as well.
Both NICEIC, EIC and ELECSA offer environmental schemes. What do you think an environmental scheme might be? What do you think it would include? What type of technologies are we talking about in there?
What do you think an environmental?
Solar.
Oh, sorry, someone's
solar. Yeah. Solar. Anything else? Solar is the big one out there. Hydroelectric. Yeah, it's not actually part of the microgeneration scheme, which these are, but yeah, it will. But the hydroelectric, the one they're looking at, it used to be in there. They move it around every now and then. Sometimes it is up to a certain amount of kilowatts, 16 kilowatts, and then they take it out again. But it's very hard to do, and the reason it's hard to do is you have to actually have a running stream or river that you can gain access to, and then you need to get access to the water. Now, in order to do that, you need to talk to the water board, the local water board, ask for an extraction license, and then you have to work with them on putting the dam up or whatever you've got to do. It's really, really hard to do that one. The other one is micro wind. So it used to be quite big technology. They used to have these small wind generators that would attach to your house or shed or whatever they were, and that technology in its early days was thought to be good. Actually, it would only last about 2 or 3 years, and then again it'd really drop off generating. So again, that one there, we're not seeing an awful lot of people put them in. But they're all good technologies, and I think every little bit we can do is good, but at the minute they're not quite where they need to be.
We also do what is known as a hazardous area scheme. Anyone want to, excuse the pun, hazard a guess what a hazardous area scheme is?
And it's not your bedroom, by the way, all right?
Anyone?
Such as where? Where do you think the dangerous environment might be? Chemical is the one.
Yeah.
Petrochemical and stuff like that. It could also be, believe it or not, if you were working a lot with cereal crops and on those where they're keeping them in these big silos, that's hazardous area as well. What they're looking at there is they're looking at the potential for explosion, and it's anywhere where there's that increased risk of explosion. It sits under that scheme there.
Oh,
yeah.
Part P. Quick show of hands who knows what this is.
Who's heard about Part P before? Right, okay, right. Part P. Part P is where the domestic installer schemes kick in from. So NICEIC, EIC and the ELECSA scheme there, Jake, arrive because of this document.
Yep, and what it does, it talks about where we should be notifying the building control of exactly what's going on in these houses.
Whereabouts do we need to do that then? So have a look. Right, this is the notifiable work. So any work that's done in a domestic dwelling, if it's in line with this here, we have to tell building control that the work's been done. So it's got here, Jake, what's it got?
So any installation of any new circuit. So if you're going in and just putting a couple of sockets in, you need to notify building control.
Yep.
If you're replacing a consumer unit, you also will need to notify them. And any addition or alteration in a special location. What's a special location?
Yeah, think about a domestic dwelling. What do you
It's your third one now. There's no more from after this. No. It's in a domestic setting.
Just a domestic dwelling. That's it. Yeah, it's only that now. Bathrooms, rooms containing a bath or a shower. That's the part it's got here. So if we read down here, bath, showers, bits and bobs like that. That's what they're looking at here. So if you're going in, taking down lights and putting up a load of new lights inside someone's bathroom, again, that's classed as the special location, require it to be notified. But there's a number of ways you can notify. If you want, you can go direct to building control. You can notify it with them. The way you do that, you're supposed to let them know before you start the work that you're planning to do so. And they will charge you around about £150 in this area, up to £330 in this area, to come out and look at the work that you've done. Or you get registered with someone such as NICEIC, EIC or ELECSA, and that would let you register the job for about £1.50. Massive difference in costs. So that's obviously a big saving that you can push onto your client, and hopefully you'd win more work.
So this, excuse me, this is a structure of our industry at the moment in terms of competent person schemes or registered bodies. So you've got us guys here, we sit here, NICEIC, EIC and ELECSA, and then as we said already, Certsure sit above us. Now above them is two charities. So we've got Electrical Safety First, and then we've got the ECA. Now all of our money that we make from Certsure, or from NICEIC, EIC and ELECSA up to Certsure, that all gets gift aided up to charity. And what happens with that money then is it goes back into the pot. So it goes back into anything to do with our industry in terms of electrical. So Electrical Safety First, they'll go out there and they'll promote safe practices. So they'll go out there and say some equipment's coming in from another country that's not safe. They'll tell all the consumers that it needs to, well, this is what you need to do and you need to follow. They also go out there and they help elderly people do rewires, ship out their old electric blankets, provide them with new heating. And then we've got the ECA as well, haven't we, Darren?
Yeah, so an ECA have been around for years and years, and they wanted to join forces with Electrical Safety First, and they did do around about 5 years ago, and it really is because they've got so much in common. Their values are very much aligned, and they've got so much in common. They put them together, and that's where it naturally fits together. So they own a company called Certsure. Certsure are the brands. Don't worry too much about the hierarchy. It's the brands that we're looking after here.
Now, they don't get 50-50% of the profits. That gets split 80-20.
Yeah, about 80-25, something like that.
Something around that sort of area. And the reason that happens, I'll come on to in a second. Well, they've got their own registering body as well.
So yeah, you can have these on the van. That's what you can get on the van if you really want. And then there are some other schemes out there as well. Looking at some where the big industry is, so you'd perhaps see some of these on the vans or on certificates, bits and bobs. When we're looking at the industry as a whole and numbers on the industry there, we've got about 34,000 registered companies electrically. If you're looking at some of the other environmental schemes and that we've got, it's up to about 37,000 that we've got now registered across the UK. Looking at ECA, they've got about 3,000. I think that's up on that. I think that's perhaps a little needs to be adjusted slightly. I think that's probably up a little bit on there. That put around about 10,000, we believe, and around about 800, probably maybe up a little bit on that. Stroma are around about the 1,000 people mark on that one, and it's companies that they're registering there as well. So it's the companies. So yes. Now ECA, also with the ECA, there's the JIB. Which is a union, looks after the people within it. You don't have to sign up for it, but when I first started in the early 90s, the JIB was quite strong in some areas, especially London. And if you wanted to work in London, you needed to be registered with the JIB in order to get on some of the big sites. That's not the case all the time now, and again, it depends really who the main contractor is. They also set rates of pay, so they would say if you're graded at this, then you get this pay, and they would set that rate of pay. And some people wanted more, so they were leaving those companies and going off and getting other pay elsewhere. The JTL, that's a training organisation looking at specifically plumbing and electrical. They do some others as well, but they've also got an income from looking at fire and security industry, so they've got those as well. This is how do you become registered with us, isn't it? So what do you need to become registered with us? If you want to, and you've got aspirations of being your own boss one day, and you want to be registered with us, getting in, you need NVQ level 3 or equivalent, they're saying. Or equivalent. If you can prove equivalence another way, brilliant, we'll sit down with you and work through that. But you're all working towards the NVQ level 3, so you'll continue to do so. 2 years experience, it's asking for there. 2 years experience of being in the industry, understanding the methods of certification and why it's important, and looking at putting those forwards. And again, we'll measure that with you, your 2 years experience. The other one's insurance, isn't it, Jake?
Yep, so you've got to have £2 million public liability. Now, that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things.
Not really.
If you was to try and do a job in a college, for example, like here, they would ask you to see at least £10 million. Because if you came in here and damaged a light and it caused a fire, for example, your £2 million isn't going to even dent the sides of the damage that you could cause from having a big fire in here.
We need to see, for an approved contractor scheme, 3 completed jobs. So 3 jobs that you've done. We'll come out, we'll look at those jobs, and we'll be saying to you, right, how do you get your cables? How do you know your cable's the right size? How did you choose the right cable? And that's the assessment that we're doing out on site. It's only 2 jobs if it's a domestic installer scheme, because your remit is quite restricted to just looking at domestic. Whereas if it's the approved contractor scheme you're going for, we could be going into a farm for one part of it, a shop for something else of it, and then maybe a college for another one. So it could be all over the place.
You need to have a current edition of BS 7671. So at the minute, you could have either. You could have the yellow one or the blue one.
Yeah.
But it depends if you're doing the blue work, if Blue Book work. So if you're doing 18th edition work, then of course you'd have to have the 18th edition.
And we need to see some certificates that you've done. So all your jobs, all your certificates, and we do that, and we sit and go through with you at what's known as a desktop audit. We will go through with you a check of the certificates to make sure the ticks are in the right boxes. If you've seen the electrical installation certificates, loads and loads of boxes there to get your head round, and we just make sure that they are being completed correctly.
Now, when you join us, again, this probably to you guys now doesn't seem like a massive thing, and there's helplines everywhere. You can phone up a manufacturer of a switch or a socket and they'll be more than happy to help you. But what this offers you is technical help. So it doesn't just offer you to do with your products, we'll offer you technical help. And it takes about 1,000 calls a week on there.
Yeah, there's 6 guys look after that.
Yeah, 6 guys that sit there, and when you get stuck, all you have to do is pick up the phone. So when you're registered with us, we're more than happy to help you technically with that.
Yeah, so again, we have lots of people ring us, and there's 6 guys sitting there helping come up with ideas, answers, solutions. It actually comes down to you. If we say something on that helpline, we are still pointing you down to finding it in the regulations, and we help navigate you towards a solution for the problem you've rung us up about. So it really is down to you, but we will be there to help and hold your hand through the process of coming up with that solution. So that they do a fantastic job, those guys.
You also get these as well. Now, I'm sure Gary must have had pocket guides. You guys must have seen the pocket guides from ourselves.
Pocket guides.
They're very useful and handy just to keep in your toolbox, just to refer back to. Now, connections, again, you guys out there may not be interested. You may be interested in learning exactly what's going on within the industry. Yeah. But every quarter we bring one of these out, and it'll have all the technical information, loads of technical updates in there as well.
Those guys that are employed in the room, if you're with NICEIC or ELECSA, can you just put your hands up if your company is with NICEIC or ELECSA? Right. In these publications that go to your business, there's 2 or 3 pages every single quarter about apprentices. And it's got questions and answers in there. It's got guidance on your learning. So that will sit there and be delivered to your office somewhere. Just ask someone, see if you can have a photocopy of it if they won't let you take it out of the office, or ask them to borrow it for a little bit. It's free. If you need another copy of it as well, we could probably get you another one sent to you, and again with your name on it, but it is out there for you guys to get hold of.
You might get it from the student scheme as well.
Yeah, in student schemes you get it sent directly to you. We go around giving award-winning talks. So across the UK we'll be going and giving talks on the changes, and that's to keep you abreast of those changes. And if you're working out there in the real world, it's so that you are aware of what is changing at the time it's changing. And there's lots of changes, not just from the regulations. Me and Jake have just been going around doing talks, not only because, as you've probably heard the rumours, the 18th edition's coming out, but also there are changes to fire alarm regulations. So fire alarm and smoke detectors that are being installed in domestic dwellings, that's potentially going to change. So me and Jake have been going around giving talks on that as well, and how it's going to affect the contractors when they're doing their designs, their quotes, and then eventually going around to installing it and then certifying it. So we do that at talks across the country, trying to see as many electricians as possible.
So once you're with us, it doesn't just stop there. What we do is we actively go out and we promote you guys to all these guys here. Yeah,
so we will go and do talks not only to electricians or the electrical industry, but we go and we meet with architects. You've done one for a massive group of safety advisors, didn't you, recently?
For the chartered surveyors. I did a big talk for those guys. I went out there and I gave them some information on exactly what it is we do, similar to what I'm doing today, plus some key things to look out for in domestic premises.
We look at landlords as well and give an awful lot of guidance to landlords, help with National Landlords Association. We've done loads of talks in the past with those guys. Homeowners is the biggest specifier. We do lots of work trying to get out there and tell homeowners that to choose someone from NICEIC, EIC or ELECSA, and that's what we do. And local authorities as well. So any social housing or anything like that, we go in and we actively promote the use of NICEIC, EIC or ELECSA contractors. Now that means then that there's 80% of the electrical contractors out there are registered with us, and they complete 90% of the work in the UK. So we saw them stats earlier on, Jake, those 34,000 that were there. That's where it all kicks back into.
And then once every 12 months we'll come back out and we'll reassess you guys. Now I don't particularly like the we assess you. What we do, we come out and we'll give you any information that's happening to the changes, or any guidance on if you're unsure on any installation work that you've done. a lot of people get really scared about having their assessments every 12 months. I've known some people to actually cancel it at the last minute because they're that worried about having an assessment. Now, it's nothing to be worried about. We're not there to test you. We're there to help you and make sure that you're carrying out safe installations.
Yeah, it's not a point of catching you out. It's a point of just making sure that your level of understanding is still at the same when it was when you enrolled from us the first time. So we go through pass certificates to make sure you're still ticking the boxes in the right order. We look at your technical complaints, but you're not going to have any, so we don't have to worry too much about those. We look at your skills, and the way we do that, we go back out on site and we say, right, how did you do this job? And you'll show us how you've done it, how you designed it, why you went with this cable over that cable, and then we'll ask a few questions around that. And after that, again, it's another tick in the box. See you in 12 months again. If you've got no questions for us, it could be as easy as that. But we are there to support you and make sure that you are as strong as you can be technically so that you can go out there and do safe electrical installation work.